Hey guys, I thought I'd stop by and talk to you about something that's got me all fired up in a good way. I've been studying all weekend, all day yesterday and today. I've been studying, preparing for a series of teachings that I'm going to do in my private subscription group called the Grace Walk Experience on the topic of quantum faith. Quantum faith. That's what I'm going to be talking about in that private group. The Grace Walk Experience. You can go to gracewalkexperience.com if you want to find out about how to join that group. It is a subscription group, but I spend a lot of time studying and we've got a lot of good stuff going on in there. But anyway, this quantum stuff has got me jacked up, man. I'm excited about it. Quantum faith. It's exciting to me to think about the knowledge that's coming to us that informs our understanding of God, that empowers us in our faith in a way that nobody in human history has ever been able to experience before now. When Jesus Christ performed his miracles, the disciples said to him one time, and I paraphrase, "How in the world do you do that stuff?" And Jesus answered and he said, "There's so much that I could tell you, but you wouldn't be able to grasp it." And then he went on later to say, "But I'm going to send a teacher who will come after I leave, and that teacher will guide you into all truth." Now, a lot of religious folks think that the only way that God can reveal truth is if it's religious truth, if it comes through the vocabulary of the church or the Bible, but that's not true. God is bigger than any religion. I hope you know that. God's bigger than the Bible. He's bigger than Christianity. God speaks through everything in so many different ways, and science is just one of the ways. And so I've been reading about how that we are advancing in knowledge these days at a faster rate than we can practically comprehend. And in the advances that we're making in knowledge, it's very clear that we're coming to understand more and more about not only God, but about the way that God works in this world. Talk about the speed of advance of information. Listen to this. This is what got me fired up. I read something some years ago where that Eric Schmidt, who was the former CEO of Google, he was former CEO, he said some years back, listen to what he said. He said, "Every 2 days, we create as much information as we did from the dawn of creation to 2003. Now think about that statement. The former head of Google said, "If you take all the information that we gathered as a race, as human beings, from the dawn of creation to 2003, you take all that information," Eric Schmidt said, "we're compiling that much information every 2 days now." All right, well, now that was in 2003. Now, we come all the way up to 2023, and there's this company called Domo, D-O-M-O. It's a business intelligence and data analytics company that is designed to help organizations make better decisions based on data-driven information. Well, anyway, they said that in 2020, that was 3 years ago, the world generated about 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every day, which is 90% of the data generated from the dawn of humanity up to 2003. So back to what Eric Schmidt said, he said we're compiling data every 2 days equal to what we gathered from the dawn of humanity to 2003. And now Domo comes along and says in 2020, we're gathering 90% of that same information every day. And that was in 2020. That was 3 years ago. Let that sink in for a minute. At least 90% of everything that can be gathered, content-wise, information-wise, from the dawn of humanity to 2003 is being accumulated every single day now. I mean, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? Are you keeping up with all this stuff about BART and ChatGPT and all these AI systems that are being put in place now? It'll blow your mind. Science is bringing us information and knowledge like we've never known before. Now, you and I grew up in a world of scientific materialism, but let me remind you that the word science, or scientist at least, didn't even exist until the 19th century, at least not as a formal discipline of study. I mean, the Latin word for science existed, but it simply meant knowledge. But the category of science, like a scientist, Nobody even knew what that was until the 19th century. They called it natural philosophy, or if you were a believer in God, a theist, or you would call it theology, studying how the Creator works in His creation. But now my point I want to make is that science nowadays is there's a new kid on the block. I mean, the new science, the quantum science that's come into the world now since the beginning of the 20th century, it has overturned that kind of science that you and I grew up with. Nowadays, Charles Darwin, he's out. And this thing of upward causation, the evolution that started, first I was a tadpole, small and thin, then I was a frog with my tail tucked in, then I was a monkey swinging from a tree, now I'm a professor with a PhD. No, that's all gone now. That's all gone. Science now says, nah, good try, Darwin, but that's not it. Now science talks about downward causation, and that's something I won't get into right now. But my point is, don't say, well, I just believe in science, because if you say you believe in science and it's the science that you and I grew up with, that science has been, I don't mean it's been completely denounced by modern science, but it's been short-sighted at the best. Short-sighted at the best, and that's being kind. Because now quantum science has uncovered an understanding of reality that's different from anything when I was a kid, or when you were a kid even. So anyway, quantum science is teaching us some things about how ultimate reality functions. Max Planck called it the matrix. You know that word from the movie. He called it the matrix, or some call it the field, or a lot of folks that aren't believers call it the universe. It doesn't matter. They're talking about God, because they're talking about ultimate reality. And there are things happening now that are being uncovered in the world of science that I'm telling you informs our faith in a way that was not possible. Jesus said to them, there's a lot I could tell you about how I do these miracles, but you wouldn't be able to grasp it. But I'm going to send somebody who'll come and you will understand. I'm going to send somebody who'll come and guide you into all truth. Well, that's us. And now is the time. And surprise, surprise, the biblical truth, some of the things the Bible has told us as far as what to do, now science is telling us how to do it. How to do it. And why we do it. So it's unpacking the Bible and basically expanding our understanding of what we've always taken by faith. And don't misunderstand me, we still need faith. But there have been a lot of things we just had to take on blind faith. But now we're seeing, oh, that's why. It's kind of like, when God told them in the Old Testament, wash your hands before you eat, or quarantine when you're sick, or things like isolate yourself when you're sick. These kinds of things. Don't eat shellfish and pork, because back then it was so easily contaminated. Well, they thought it was some kind of moral code that he was putting on them, but he was really doing it for their own protection. Well, it was science, medical science, that helped us understand why God said that back then to the Israelites, to the Jewish people. Same thing. So I'm going to be talking about faith in my group, and I don't want to turn this into an infomercial, but I am excited about this because faith for me has always meant just kind of hoping, wishing, trying to think positive about it. But science is unpacking some things now about faith, using the words focused intention and prayer, using the words elevated desire, that has given, it's put the rubber on the road. It's put the tires to the road and given some traction to what faith means. So anyway, I'm not going to go down that path, but I just wanted to stop by and tell you, I guess I'm just excited, and I wanted to share something with you out of my enthusiasm. We're living in an exciting time. And thank goodness, thank God, not God is goodness, thank God that the Bible has told us a lot of these things, but now we're hearing the voice of the teacher who is going to guide us and is guiding us into all truth, coming from a lot of different directions, and science is one of them. Hey, again, if you're interested in the subscription group, go over to gracewalkexperience.com and you can get information there. Right now I'm teaching a series in there called What is the Grace Walk Experience? But I'll finish that, I think it's the 24th, 25th of the month. And then I'm starting a series called Quantum Faith. And it's going to bring biblical truth and quantum science together to show how, not just what the Scripture has told us about faith, but how to put it into practice in a way that, I'm telling you, transforms our lives. Anyway, I hope this has been an encouragement, that especially this thing about the information and the growth of information we're experiencing today. is mind blowing. All right, you have a good week, and I'll see you next time.